at this
Yes.
point. There is still concern.
Not the fraud part. The concern is what you give us, we have to be able to reconcile.
Correct, so,
Okay,
back
I
to,
can't reconcile it without your general
Back
ledger
to-
now because you washed money from the tax
that's
to
incorrect.
general.
That's incorrect. Aaron, please
You
correct
did
me
a
if I'm wrong.
transfer, you did a transfer of $5,000 from
Correct.
the tax fund into the general fund.
Correct.
You did another transfer of $20,000 from the tax fund into the general fund.
Which we reconciled.
No.
You have provided checks without any documentation from the general fund.
No ledger.
You gave us a check number, we don't have a ledger from that account.
So I guess my ask would be then, this information could have been conveyed when we gave the last report of information.
I just finished this evening.
Understood, however, I think that's where maybe we have a breakdown in communication right now, is we're trying to provide the information to bring us current at the request of the board, right? Section 1553 of the Second Class Accounting Code does require that. An itemized list of expenditures out of the tax account, we understand that. Historically, that may have been done, right? It may not have been done, we understand that, right? We've brought us current up to this point. We are trying to get current in totality, so again, that's new information to us. The $500,000, $20,000 transfer, that information was not conveyed to us until now. Okay? So the ask is for better communication, so we understand what we're supposed to provide.
I thought I asked for that too. I wanted to talk to the treasurer, Miss Amanda. I don't understand why I'm still dealing with line office.
We received an email from Jared, I believe, or verbal from Jared, I forget which it was, but he said, if we want to know finances and the monies, we're to go to Jared and the treasurer. If we want to know calls and run sheets, we go to you, the line side. The two should be
Correct.
crossing.
Correct.
Why am I talking to you about finances?
When we met last, we discussed, and actually I agreed to be the liaison between the township and the fire company. That is what we agreed to.
Yeah,
And I agreed to do that, we agreed to do that, the board agreed to do that in our last meeting. Amanda has been in her role for approximately 6 months.
Oh,
She does not have a background, this is Amanda. She does not have a background in fire company operations and finance. So as she's learning that, and Mike Frederick, who was our previous treasurer, is helping her understand that. The reality is she does need guidance and support, and I don't speak on behalf, she is a very smart person. But she needs guidance and support from people who have a fire background.
totally get
That
it.
is
And that's why I
why
was
she does not
saying
go
you
and sit
should
in
come
front
in
by
and sit
herself.
with Mr. Wallizer and bring your book and just go over it. We'd probably be able
We
to
did try to
have.
schedule a meeting and you guys never answered, so
This-
that's why we
this
haven't
is
met yet,
very-
so.
In my eyes, this is solved very simply.
Correct, it is, and that's what we're trying to achieve. I
That's
think
what
that's
I'm
what we're asking for, is we're asking for more open communication. We agreed to recurring meeting, right, to make sure we can get ourselves current. The challenge we have right now, okay, is that we are trying to communicate with the board, we're trying to communicate with the township, we're trying to make sure we can meet to give you guys what you want. We understand the responsibility you have under the second class township code, we do, right? The concern now is funding has been suspended based on information that you have received, whether it's about misappropriation or fraud and not being able to reconcile tax accounts, which we're able to do.
Do you realize that if we
Okay.
can reconcile those 10 years, we can say, there ain't nothing there?
Bill, we met and talked about the 10 years of, and then I think this is where the level of frustration is starting to be generated from, is we are trying to get back to 10 years.
Okay,
I've been a member of this organization for 4 years,
all right.
right? My background, I don't have history in this township. We are trying to get to that point, okay? However, it's a lot of man hours invested. I'm a father of 3 kids and I'm a full-time job. That is an extremely large investment of my time. Will we not agree?
This shouldn't be a hard thing to get. You should have these records.
When you have a change of hand, it's not, the information is not hard, but to put it together, when you've had multiple people in different roles that were not filing whatever the second class township code was requiring to give to the township, we do have to go back and make sure we reconcile it and give it to you in the appropriate form.
Let me ask
Are the 4
you.
years that we've received complete?
Yes.
Do you agree that let me just get it from Aaron.
All
Are you,
So,
do you feel, what is missing from the 4 years? Because Jason did clearly say, when we met, that 10 years is gonna be really tough, but we'll work
Correct.
backwards. And each older year is gonna take a little longer because the documents are older, they're further away,
In X
there's
filing
less
cabinet,
people around,
correct.
there's less, I mean, who remembers anything from 4 years ago? I mean, okay.
so I think the point of contention in the 4 years is those 2 transfers. Those 2 transfers were made to hold dollar amounts. They did not actually they were not transfers made to cover a single or several distinct invoices. Firehouse has admitted that those transfers were done sloppily. and the numbers are either slightly
We're
above or
within like
slightly below.
$18 and $13, right? And so the part of it, and not to cut you off, Aaron, is we have partial application of funds. You get 5 invoices, maybe they equal $5,000 and $13. So when you transfer 5,000 out of the tax account to pay for those funds, you're not gonna have a full reconciliation. Partial application.
Let me ask you a question. Is there a reason you're not just writing the checks out of tax fund?
So we do,
I
for the
mean,
most part.
I see you
For the most
do,
part, correct.
But
for the most part.
sometimes you don't, you just
Correct,
transfer money
correct,
to the general
correct,
fund. Now that
correct,
opens the general fund to
correct.
us.
So on a go-forward basis, and again, looking back at last month's, what you decided to vote on, right, your resolution that you guys for suspending funding, right? We are doing everything we can on a go-forward basis to work with the board to get us current. We can look back as far as we want to go, and we will provide as much as we possibly can, in absolute clarity. My concern, and I think everyone else's concern, is if the board believes there's any sort of misappropriation or fraudulent activity, we actually would prefer to have a third-party investigation completed. We would rather see the authorities come and investigate our files instead of all of this.
I totally agree.
That would be our preference.
And that's what I said to the gentleman when he made the allegation here. I said, it's a hell of an allegation that you need to be able to back up. And
We
I was
will happily
unwilling
open our books
to do it in this form. But what I did do, as you know, is I filed a right to know request.
Sure.
I did it so we didn't do this publicly and give our township
No,
another
this
black
is
eye.
okay because we're at least communicating and saying what we need to
Well,
accomplish.
so then, I think I just did the other thing here, Jay. I got this young lady here now. We can set up something, if you have your calendar in your phone, we can set something up to get the rest of the financials, Aaron, right here. And we should be able to move right through that. The suspension came along because we were delinquent on it, not just for 10 years, but before Ms. Fisher and I took over, you guys were asked for it from 2 other administrations.
2023 is the first time they were asked what you
I
as far as we
totally-
know, right?
Yeah.
And we don't want to argue about that. My
No,
point
I'm not gonna
is,
go
you guys
to
have a
Spanish.
responsibility out of your respect, okay?
Right.
And we will help you fulfill that responsibility.
Right, but that's how we got to where we are today. It isn't like we sat at home going, how can we possibly mess around with this fire company, right? I got too much stuff to do on my farm, Jay.
I got it.
But I will tell you, what I did see was a whole bunch of social media BS.
Look,
So I think if we can cut out the BS and just go right with Miss Amanda here, Mr. Wallizer, I'm fairly confident, like Bill says, we can get this right together. I think we can get this information together. As far as the other information, Bill didn't want to be complicit in it. So if there, and he uses that term in here. So if there is fraud, waste of taxpayer money, as he said, illegal activities done, guess who gets in trouble for that? Because now he's told about it. Me and Bill. So we're sitting here, what the hell do we do? I go to Miss Vicky, I ask, what do we do? Can I get in trouble for this? Absolutely, you're complicit too, because now you know. So nobody sat here going, how can we torture the fire company? That's a farce. Fake news, if you will. Right? That's fake. What we need to do now, Jay, is we should go back and make sure we clear up the rumors in the house. That there's not one person on this board that's ever sued the firehouse, because last November, running for office, I heard how Bill was suing you guys. I had to make an emergency call. I was like, holy cow, what happened here? Right? So Jay, all the fodder gotta come out. Let's just get Miss Amanda with Darren. Let's get it reconciled and keep proper records moving forward. That's all this is about. We can turn it on. The fraud thing, the waste of money, I think you're right. I would go ahead
we
and
prefer a formal investigation.
have somebody investigate those funds there, because as I told him, I was not privy to the information. So I have to stop where I am.
Look,
And that's how we got here.
we
So-
respect that. I think what I would ask, and I think on
Yeah.
behalf of our organization, is that we want the funding reinstated. Based on the good faith effort we've made thus far. And what we're
4
going to
years, Jay, I
reconcile.
need 10 years.
Bill, I mean, we
Wait,
agreed
wait,
to do
wait,
that.
1 second.
And we're trying to compromise with the board on this.
What the motion
You
was.
gave me
Wait.
4 years in 2 months. It's how I look at it. I picked this time intentionally. There's no pass-through funding coming to you.
We're not home.
There's no tax money coming to you right now. There is literally $0 being held from
We're
you.
aware.
Okay, so what I would like you to do is, it's 10 years behind. Just get a couple more reports. Get us to where we
But see,
can
you
satisfy
keep
some of
moving, you keep moving the goalposts.
No, Jay, I asked you for 10, I
When
moved
we
the
met
goalposts.
before, we
to 10.
aligned to, Bill, we aligned to get you back as quickly as we could, right? Within the first 5-day span, we met on 12/18, and, I'm sorry, it was 12/16. We had a weekend involved, and we agreed to get you what we could on 12/23, right? That wasn't sufficient enough. we got more information, we worked with Aaron, I very much appreciate everything Aaron has done to help guide us in this process. It gave you more clarity and more reconciliations.
And
That
that second
information was
batch was
provided
deficient
to,
too.
that
This
was
here.
news to us as of now, because we didn't know about that.
Okay.
Are we documenting?
Everything is
I think
documented, Lisa.
Yeah, well, no, but when you came in December, we agreed that you would do regular meetings to go through
And
this
we haven't started
process.
them yet, correct?
Oh, you haven't
We
started.
have not
the
started any regular
We need to
meetings
get
with
the- We need to get the regular meetings on the board, and you need to, and I don't mean with the board of supervisors, but
I
we
was directed
documenting.
to have, as Bill said, Amanda and the president
Yeah.
sit down, discuss the financials first, and then once the financials were in order, we would have the monthly meetings.
That's why we didn't have you in yet, like you were saying, the meeting you were supposed to, but it all went sideways.
This was
That was
stated
our
in
plan.
email to Jared.
Yes.
Why can't we come to an agreement that we've gone back to 22, you came on board in what, 23?
24.
Your responsibility for requiring and collecting this information started then, correct? Ms. Vicky, is there any other thing that would require him, from a liability perspective, if it wasn't provided to him prior to his time on the board, that he's responsible for?
Yeah.
How does that work?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand what that was.
Is anything that occurred that was not collected prior to his time on the board? So for example, Second Class Township Code 1553 requires us to do this itemization annually,
Yep.
or funding gets suspended. Before his time on the board, is he held liable for anything that was not collected or done? Any itemized listing that was not obtained by the township?
It's not a personal, it's not a
It's state-
personal
Or the
thing,
board, I mean,
it's a
from the
township
township
thing.
perspective, so who's responsible for
Right.
that, right? If an auditor came, I'm making this up, right? If someone comes in here and says, hey, Upper Frederick Township, you didn't collect this information in 2017,
Right.
who's responsible? And what happens?
Well,
I
it
guess is
gets
my question.
complicated because you can say that it would be the people on the board at the time. But then what happens though is when he gets knowledge that it's not here,
Understood,
he becomes, word he's using is complicit, but he becomes responsible then because he's aware that these documents were never provided.
so,
So it's, that's how he steps into the role now of saying, I need this going backward.
understood, that makes sense. However, I guess my question is then, is it an issue if we say, why can't we reinstate funding based on what's provided thus far, and we're still working to do, if he's identified it, we've all identified it, we're still trying to provide that information.
Correct.
Why is that, that's not
And I'm not
complacency.
gonna say anything wrong one way or the other with the reinstatement, but my understanding is that currently, even though they said they were gonna withhold funding, there really is no funding that's being withheld. Because you wouldn't be getting any money from the
This time
township.
you're 100%, and I agree with you there, I don't
Right, so
disagree
it's
with you.
kind of a misnomer
But-
that there's
Yeah,
big
and
funds
agreed.
being withheld.
Well, it's just like there's a
It's not.
misnomer that we received $60,000 in taxpayer fund, we received 38, right? So that's a falsehood that's out in this arena as well. We do not receive $60,000 in taxpayer funds, we receive 38. That's the budgeted number we get.
And then
The
you
public
get,
needs to understand that, because that's a misrepresentation
correct,
of
and then
what
you
we
get
receive.
the pass-through fire tax that has
Fireman's
nothing to
relief
do
is a
with the
completely
township.
separate, has zero to do with the
Correct.
township, that's a foreign tax, it's in the state,
Correct.
that has nothing to do with, it's allocated by the state.
100%.
So we were told, the public was advised, 60,000, that's incorrect. It's 38. But we do need that funding as we plan budgeting, we need to know that funding is going to come,
Right,
right?
I understand.
So
Understand
my
the
point is, and this is not a you, again, I'm just looking for the legal guidance.
I'm
so I
not taking
appreciate
it
that,
personally,
I
you're okay.
appreciate that. Why can't we arrive at a compromise here? Why is it that we have to sit here and go back and forth when we're saying we're doing everything possible to give you the information you're asking for, to make the organization compliant with whatever the second class township code requires, but yet we still have to go back and forth on 6 years that we're going to try to obtain, but you still won't agree to reinstate the funding? I don't care about timing. We don't care about the timing. We do not survive if we don't obtain taxpayer funds and any donations from the public.
Could you say that again?
We do not survive. Annually, we need that money to operate.
Okay.
We do.
So you're depending upon us.
We depend on taxpayer funds, donations, and state grants.
All right, thank you.
There's three major buckets, and we've explained this to the board before.
So if we didn't give you this funding here, this year, what is the pass-through, what is it, in September, right?
Fireman's relief, are you talking about the fire tax? You have to be careful here, because pass-through comes from the state.
Yeah,
So the
Right.
right,
As a
that's designated via the.
Fire tax in the township is not a pass-through, that's a tax, that's a special tax under 706 that you have to give us. You have to use it for fire protection.
For a
Not
fire
us.
service in the
You
town.
can't
Correct.
rededicate it, because then you're gonna be sued, you're gonna have a criminal issue, right? The treasurer will have a criminal issue. So my point is, and you can go, and you can talk to New Hanover, you can talk to Lower Frederick, they have staffing problems just like everyone else in the fire service.
Yeah.
As a resident of this township, My day job, okay, if I were living in this township, we don't have a fire company that's within 5 miles of my house, I have concerns about my homeowner's insurance. My homeowner's insurance will go up. Does the board understand? But that's not, you know, I just make sure we're all on the same page here. That's me putting my resident hat on,
Let me,
right? I'm asking for compromise. That's what we are asking.
okay, let me ask you a question, okay, and we'll see if this is sort of a compromise, because there's 3 of us on the board, I'm only 1/3 of the
Sure.
board. Your big check isn't due until usually May or June.
Yeah,
May, June,
the
July
tax-
is when it comes in.
Yeah, somewhere like
According to
that.
your
Yeah,
records,
somewhere that
May,
comes in
June.
correct. The flow that comes in
Okay.
correct.
Now, I need the general ledger to reconcile this. I'm sitting down like it's my checkbook doing this stuff.
Sure, sure.
Okay? The stuff you provided me, you provided in 3 or 4 different areas. I gotta take them all and put them onto one sheet. Because
Understood.
you won't give me a check number with an amount, with a date, with an invoice.
Well, I just, one point of clarity there, Bill. It's not, we will not. We want to.
Okay,
We
I'm
want
sorry.
clarity
You
on
have
what
it.
you guys need and want.
Right, you
That's what
have
we're
it.
asking for. We have all the information. We need clarity on, Bill,
I can
right to know, I
clarify for you right
understand
now.
that.
I
but
can
this is not
clarify
right
it
to
right
know.
now.
Okay?
What we need,
If you give us a
is
list of what you want in
the
the
tax dollars that were deposited into your tax account.
Yes.
I need a check that was written, the ledger was written against, and the invoice.
That's been provided.
Just send it
That's
right
been
now.
provided, but that's been provided for 2022
We
and forward.
just finished
Correct.
looking at it tonight, that's why.
You've got a
But
ledger
the
for the
tax
general fund.
account, no, not for the general fund. We have we have 2 reconciliations, I think, with the general ledger. If I'm correct me if I'm wrong, right, Aaron? This is, again, this is news to me, that we have to provide additional reconciliation. I thought we were on the same page.
Because of those transfers to the general fund and then using tax fund out of the general fund instead of the
I
tax
understand,
fund.
guys, I understand that. My
We need the
frustration,
legislative
my
overcome
frustration
that.
here is this information was given to the board in totality 2 weeks ago.
I just got this 2 days
I
ago.
can't vouch for what happens behind closed doors in this organization, I can't. But what I'm saying is, no one had told us that up until now. I'm here in a public forum, and now I'm being told by the township, you're still not compliant, when as of 2 weeks ago, we were under the impression we were compliant back to 2022. How frustrating is that? Would that not frustrate you?
It would frustrate me, very much so.
Sure would.
And I'm not trying to get anyone in hot water here, but the point is, we're asking for better open communication in this entire process. To be successful, for you to be successful, to meet your obligations, we have to work together. And we're not doing that. Period, on both sides.
I mean, I
I shouldn't feel
all
like
day
I'm here
long
giving a
for 2 days
lecture.
now, I've been sitting down here, going over the information that was sent to me, this is all it. Your checks, your ledgers, all this stuff, and I can't do my job because I don't have all the information.
Bill,
You
you
didn't
just
give me the
said we
general
could do
ledger.
that. We're asking for.
You wrote
I
checks.
think we just have a
Yeah.
timing issue.
Okay.
If you gave it 2 weeks ago and you got it 2 days ago, I don't know where it sat for 12 days. But we can talk in circles
Where'd
all
you
we
get
want.
it? When did you get it?
All we need to do is get the two, if you're the one working on it and you're working on it and you're working on it.
But this wasn't
Can
an
we
email
just get
that was
these?
sent.
I will tell you, it was sent, it was sent electronically, it was sent
Start meeting
electronically a week and a half ago.
You're all
We can
on
talk
the entire board.
all of
Okay.
you're So if all you on. guys don't
The
check
Oh,
entire
that
it
was
board.
out,
it, that
you
was
can't
this
do
back
anything
here,
about
yeah,
that.
the way it came out, it printed out that
In
much of a
columns.
page in a column.
Did you
I
call me
couldn't
and tell
deal
me,
with
hey
that.
guys, this is coming up?
No, I came
Did
up
you
to
do that
see,
in
I came up to see my
physical copy?
secretary and said, could you print this out for me? My printer's not doing it.
But do you understand what I'm saying? That's where I think
Yes.
there's a disconnect. So I think what Lisa is trying to convey, and I'm trying to convey, is there's a large disconnect. You have a responsibility, you have a responsibility. We're committed to serving the township, you're committed to serving the township. We're 100% transparent, you're 100% transparent. Why do we have this conflict when we're saying we need to get current with each other?
I agree.
This should not exist. And why is the 38-year-old person in this room the one that's giving this lecture? It doesn't make sense to me.
I agree, it doesn't make sense to me either.
Jay,
You
the
can
bottom,
keep-
I'm
Going
being
back to
told,
papers.
I'm being told we
Going back
have
to
this, I come
papers.
up tonight and say, where is this? I can't find it. Well, no, not really that.
Can you guys just set up a meeting?
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
we can talk in
so,
circles
so
all
the
we
meeting's
want.
fine. Number one, I think you're coming in like this is a problem we
No,
created.
no, I'm not, Bill, I'm
So,
not.
so that's
Don't take it
where I
that way.
want to take this. It's not a problem that we created here, okay?
I'm not, I'm
What I
asking for a
asked for,
resolution of
what
the
I
problem.
asked for was information. I get some of it here and there, and finally I've gotten 4 years. I'm not angry, bitter, or upset about it,
Neither are we.
but I need some more results.
Happy to
Now that
do
we're
so.
in here, I'm disappointed and sad that you didn't, get a reply right away as far as, these items not being in here, okay? I am. There was a discussion, I can assure you, in this house before you guys all got here about items that weren't in there. But there's nothing I can do about that. You do have 10 years that we're back.
And
I gave
Bill,
4.
and we're happy to work on it.
And that's what I'm
Right.
saying, keep bringing
Happy
them
to
in
work.
here. You got plenty of time before, unless you're telling me
That
that
you
you
can't
guys.
do this or move forward
No.
by
Yeah,
May.
you tell me the doors are closing if you don't have funding to that, is that what you're
No,
telling me?
no, you're not, I think you guys are trying to twist, not twist intentionally, but I think you're taking what I'm saying and going down
This
this
is
path.
my
My
Well, no,
point
it's
is,
actually what the public said. The public comment was that we were closing.
Lisa,
the
I
house
understand,
right
but listen,
now.
look, that's what
Everybody's
we're going
covering
if
it.
I listen to the public statement, there's a lot of things that are
I'm just saying,
inaccurate, right?
that's-
I don't tend to, and I appreciate the
Well,
public, right?
Here's the
That's our
question, why
job.
are all these people here? Because
No,
they were
I
told
don't-
we're closing your firehouse down.
So, listen, I don't know, right? My job, listen, my job enrolled here because my other officers who are out of the fire, I'm handling this on their behalf, okay? As their direct report, so to speak. My responsibility is to create clarity for everyone that's in this room, whoever's willing to listen, and to provide an emergency service. It is a lot of work being a volunteer. It's hard enough to get people to come out.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's the reality, right? No different than your job's not easy, I get that. My point is, we're trying to move past this. The past is the past, we will do whatever we can to rectify whatever the issues were historically. That's not a problem, that's a commitment from our organization, that's what we're saying. The ask is a commitment from this organization, this board, say, we will work with you, we understand that. And we start by getting a meeting, and I think, Ms. Vicky and Lisa saying, let's just move past it
Let's
and
do
get a
this,
meeting.
let's
on
do
board.
this on public forum right now, one last final time, okay? If Aaron, myself, Amanda, and Jared, if we get together and I say, I wanna see X, Y, and Z, you will open your books to me.
I see no issue with that, right? Again, now, I'm a sole person in the organization, but there is no reason we shouldn't be able to show you what's under the hood.
That's what we're
There's
asking
no reason
for.
for that.
because
But
I
our
can
ask is we
reconcile
go
them.
about it the right way and make sure we're having discussions, and when you don't have something, tell us. And if you
I
don't-
would like to see at the end, whether it's weekly that you're meeting or monthly, a report. of
There
all
doesn't
10
be a
years.
report.
Give me the
Correct.
list of all the 10 years that we're looking for.
Correct.
Tell me what information is provided.
We need clarity.
We then have to turn around and say, did it meet? If it doesn't meet the
Tell us right
requirements,
away.
give us documentation
If-
or information on what's specifically
Mhm.
missing. But I want it in a report
Right.
with the 10 years listed, so I can easily look at it and say, 2025 is complete balance, both parties agree. 2024 is complete
Correct.
balance, both parties agree. We get to 2022, you say, it's in this weird format, I need additional information. You say what you need, Amanda has a timeline to provide it. But what I don't wanna hear is that people are talking behind
Correct.
everyone's backs and spreading rumors.
It's getting old.
Right.
I think all it is just a timing. You just got to it. Well, Amanda and the fire and Jason need to know that,
There's
hey,
a
I
delay.
received the documentation today. I need 72 hours to review it.
Correct.
You don't just show up at a meeting and then say, I just finished it right before I walked in,
Yeah.
and then.
And then tell me we're
Well,
not.
And I tell
Right?
you we're-
this wasn't up for discussion.
No, and look, no, and I understand,
But
and
it
I
came
apologize
up,
for taking
so.
up this much time on public comment. However, I do believe this is warranted, and I think
Yes,
this is
I
actually the
agree.
type of healthy discussion we should be having. If we're trying to be successful together,
If the House is gonna promise to provide the information we asked for, I will promise to put the time in to go over it with Aaron and Don.
we will promise whatever is required, that we have,
sorry.
whatever we are required to give you and that you need, right? To balance the